There is so much that we need to or want to buy in preparedness that it just makes sense to save a few dollars here and there. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video is the dollar store items that would fit in your preparedness plans and even the items you'd find at Walmart or maybe even get on Temu. Now, later in this video, I'm going to go over some of the best practices and precautions you should take because you shouldn't build an entire preparedness plan around dollar store items. You shouldn't build an entire first aid kit, even though there's a few videos that tell you you can. You shouldn't have an entire first aid kit built out of dollar store supplies. But with that being said, there are quite a few items that you can find at the dollar store, whether that be for bartering or you don't need those really expensive supplies. You just need a few of these cheaper ones to get the job done. In this video, I've got 20 items that you can get from the dollar store, but honestly, there's a whole lot more than that. It really just depends on what you want and need. With that, let's go ahead and get into this list today. And like I said, this is 20 supplies. And if you have any other items that you have seen or think about, make sure and leave them in the comments below. But the first one I've got here is non-perishable foods. And this is something they have quite a bit of, from the snacks and things like that to the canned foods. I recently did a video where I spent I think it was $22 at the dollar store and ended up actually saving a few bucks from if I were to have bought those at Walmart or the grocery store. So you can get some deals on non-perishable foods. Some of the foods are off brands and some of them you may not like the flavor or the texture. But it's one of those, buy a few, try them out. If you do like them, then you can stockpile a few. The next one is something I sort of accidentally fell across, and this is the grill grates. And these are fantastic in preparedness. My wife does a lot of DIY projects, art projects, and she's got a few different uses for these. But in preparedness, I think having a few of these is fantastic because if you do need to cook indoors, you put a few cans underneath this grate, you get a little alcohol burner, and you can cook whatever you need to indoors. So these grates are fantastic. And if you get a few of them for $1, you just can't beat it. So I think these grill grates are a great item to get for your emergency cooking plans. Next, sort of along the same lines, you have the dinner plates and the dishes, the disposable plates, even the cheaper plastic plates. As far as preparedness is concerned, you can put these aside, put them in a box, and they're semi-disposable. The paper plates are disposable, but some of the other plastic ones are semi-disposable, meaning that if you have to make meals in a disaster or an emergency, you're not going to be all that disappointed about having to throw some of these away rather than cleaning them and using some of your water. So you could build up a good little storage with, just a few of these plates, the cups, the bowls, the silverware that you can just tuck away and use in case of an emergency or birthday parties and things like that. And while you're there, they also have a lot of different cooking utensils, whether that's spatulas or cooking forks. These things that they're not the greatest, and you're probably not going to want them in your kitchen that you use on a daily basis. But again, you could put them away for emergencies. They could be used for camping supplies. So if one gets lost or broken, and the odds of them getting broken are pretty high because they are dollar store spatulas, but you could use them for those reasons. And even in emergencies around the house, have a couple of these and test them out. But there are a lot of different utensils that you could get as well. Like I said, whether you're talking about camping or an emergency situation, something you put in a kit as sort of a backup just in case. And even with these cooking utensils, you've also got the containers, the tinfoil pans, which are great for a number of different things. You could bury some little mini refrigerators. You could cover them. You can organize things with them. So these are all fantastic as well. And they are a little bit less expensive than the ones you would get from Walmart, but the quality may be a little bit less as well. So there is that trade-off. You just need to pay attention and buy some of these and test them out. Another one that they have quite a variety of at the dollar store is different cleaners, whether you're talking about the bathroom, the kitchen, your countertops. They have some off brands, and they have the name brands that you would expect to see at Walmart. Some of these, the great thing about some of these as well is they're smaller volume, meaning they're going to be easier to store. It could be used for barter items, could be used to give somebody just as a gift in an emergency situation where they may not have stuff and it's not a life-threatening situation where you don't mind helping out a little bit. But there are just so many different items there that you can get, from the dish soaps to the laundry detergent, a lot of different things. But you can get quite a bit of these at the dollar store. And Lisa has tested quite a bit of these out, and some of them work pretty well, actually. And with the cleaning supplies, you can also find trash bags there, a number of different sizes of trash bags. Keep in mind, these are going to be lower quality trash bags than what you would get. Even the store brands, the Walmart brands trash bags, those are higher quality than what you would get from the dollar store. But you don't need the highest quality all the time. So having a few of these just to throw a few things in, whether that is just trash in an emergency or disaster or everyday use. If you don't need that super high quality trash bag, some of these you can save quite a bit of money on, whether you're talking about for preparedness purposes or everyday use. And they also have Ziploc baggies, and these have a number of different uses. Whether you've got a cache that you want to bury underground, you want to put something in your bug out bag or your backpack just to keep it a little bit water resistant. Some of these, they're not going to be the high quality like the Ziploc bags, but there are a lot of situations where you may not need that high quality. They're great for organization. We use baggies for a number of different things, not just to, the sandwich baggies, not just to put sandwiches in them, but I use them for a number of different things. And sort of along the same lines, zip ties, it's those you never know when you're going to need them or what they're going to be useful for. So having a few of these for $1 or $1.25, whatever the price is these days, it just makes sense to have a few extra of these in assorted different sizes, because you never know when those might be useful. Next here, I have seeds, and this is sort of seasonal, I think, because a lot of times I go and I don't see them. But seeds are always good to have for preparedness reasons. Now, keep in mind, these are not the heirloom seeds, and it's really questionable how they're packaged and how good the seeds actually are, but it doesn't hurt to get a few and see how well they are going to grow. These also make good barter items if the situation comes up where you can give them away or trade with people and have these seed packets that aren't your heirloom seeds, that aren't your seeds that you need to make sure that they actually do grow when the time comes. But seeds is one of those. If I see them there, I pick up a few, because it's sort of a why not type situation. And if that time ever comes where you need them, you're going to be glad you have them. So seeds are something you can get from the dollar store as well. The next one on my list is candles, and they have all sorts of different kinds of candles, to the ones that are in the glass jars, to they have the stick candles, you've got the tea light candles, a lot of different types of candles, and it really depends on what they have in stock when you go. But candles are fantastic to have in preparedness. Now, these days, there are a lot more options when it comes to light, a lot safer options when it comes to light. But it never hurts to have some candles tucked away in a little storage bin or a box, because they never go bad. And in a situation that lasts maybe longer than you thought it would, and the energy runs out in your batteries, having a few of these candles that don't take any sort of fuel is going to be something that you're going to want to have. And going along with the theme of lights, they also have solar lights, the yard lights, which we have a bunch of these around the house. We have some higher cost ones that have the solar panels on them that last a little bit longer, a little bit more durable. But we also have quite a few of these little dollar store solar lights, because one, they are really cheap. And if they do go bad or they break, it's not a huge deal. It was $1, right? So having some of these solar lights, and quite a few of them if you can, is always a good idea. And they also have headlamps and flashlights, which are good, but I wouldn't, I'd make sure you have some good quality flashlights, but you only need a couple of those. And then after that, again, with a lot of these are bartering supplies, but after that, you can get a few of these dollar store flashlights. Walmart even has them from time to time for $1, little lights that clip onto the bill of your cap, little headlamps, flashlights, a set of 5 or 6 flashlights for like $7. And you can also find batteries at the dollar store for these headlamps and flashlights. I would be very leery about the quality of these batteries. You've probably used some Rayovacs and you know they don't have the lifespan as some of the other ones do. Amazon Basics batteries I've had pretty good luck with, but these batteries, again, they could be used for bartering. They could be used for gifts. They could be used to put in these low-cost flashlights that you're not really too concerned about, but you can find batteries at the dollar store. Next, I have Vaseline, and Vaseline can be used for quite a few different things in preparedness, whether you're talking about medical reasons or maybe using it with a cotton ball or some dryer lint to get a fire started. Vaseline is one of those things I think everyone should have. Maybe you don't need 13 cases of Vaseline, but it's always good to have those little things that you really don't think about on a daily basis, but would absolutely help you out in a disaster or an emergency situation. So Vaseline is one of those. If you don't have any or you've got 1 or 2, maybe pick some up and just have that just in case. Next, I have lighters. And again, this would be one I'd be very leery of because nothing is going to beat a Bic lighter or a higher quality lighter. Some of these cheap lighters will work, but they're not going to be the most efficient. And sometimes they will leak and they will drain, or the flame will be super high and it will burn really quick. Or sometimes you just can't get it to light at all. So I would be very leery about some of these lighters that you can get from the dollar store, but they could be used again in a bartering situation. Lighters, I think, would be one of the most sought after supplies if it is a disaster or an emergency that lasts a couple weeks or longer, because most people don't have those. So it doesn't hurt to have them. I just wouldn't depend on them. I wouldn't have one of these in my bug out bag or in my vehicle or on my everyday carry, but it doesn't hurt to have a few extra lying around. And along the same lines, you can actually get matches at the dollar store too. They're super light, they store really easily, and they last forever as long as they're stored properly. So why not, if they have them at the dollar store when you're there, grab a few of those boxes and just tuck them away, because you never know when something like that might be useful. All right, so the next few on my list are first aid supplies. And while you can get some pretty decent first aid supplies at the dollar store, it is going to be smaller quantity, meaning cost per unit is going to be about the same as something that you would get at the grocery store or Walmart or Amazon, wherever you go. So while you can get some of the similar quality supplies, the amount it's not going to save you a whole lot of money. Now, they do have over-the-counter medications and things like that are the generic brands or off brands, which are just, about the same. Any generic brand is about the same as these, the Tylenols, or ibuprofen is ibuprofen, regardless what the name on the bottle is. So you can get quite a few of those. I would just be very leery about putting together. I've seen a few videos where they talk about putting together a dollar store first aid kit. Not a good idea. Maybe have some dollar store supplies in there. Maybe use some of these dollar store supplies as training supplies, but I wouldn't depend on these in a disaster situation. So it's not to say that they're all bad and you shouldn't use dollar store supplies, but just don't make everything that you have dollar store supplies. And then finally here, it's sort of along the same lines. I've got personal hygiene stuff, the toothpaste, the deodorants, the shampoos, the soaps. You can find a lot of these different types of things at the dollar store. The shampoos, the toothpaste, things like that, toothbrushes, dental floss, a lot of different things you can get there that might save you a few bucks rather than going to, Walmart or something like that. Now, I do suggest getting the type of toothpaste you like, and if that happens to be what they sell at the dollar store, that's great. But you're going to want something that you use on a daily basis. You're going to want what you like. So these would be something that you would maybe put away or use for guests when they come over, or anything like that. It just never hurts to have a few extra. Now, I mentioned earlier that I wanted to go over a couple of things to be aware of when it comes to dollar store supplies. And like I said a couple of times in this video, don't center your whole preparedness plan around these dollar store supplies. These are extra supplies. These are why not supplies, but they are not items that you're going to want to, for the most part, items that you're going to want to depend on in a disaster situation. So these are an addition to, these are not, hey, I need to go to the dollar store and stock up my food storage, or I need to go to the dollar store and build up my first aid kit. That's not what these are about. These are an addition to some of the things that you already have and possibly bartering supplies. Next, just because it's the dollar store these days, it's almost the same price as some of the things you can get at Walmart or the grocery store or Temu or Amazon. So it's not the deal that it used to be. And I believe most of these stores are $1.25 now. And with inflation the way it is, that could probably go up. So just because we have this idea that the dollar store is going to be this stuff that is a super great deal, but that's not the case all the time. Like I said earlier, I spent $20 at the dollar store on food to see how much I would save, and I actually did save a few bucks, but it's not like you're going to be paying half price or you're going to get twice as much food for the same price you would pay at Walmart or something. It's just not the case anymore. So understand that going in. The good thing about dollar store supplies and dollar store products is a lot of them are smaller packaged, which is fantastic for preparedness. But it's not the deal that it used to be. So at any rate, a lot of different things you can get at the dollar store, and this was 20 supplies, and I know there are quite a few other things as well. Like I said earlier, sort of like a garage sale and thrift stores, which are both other fantastic places to get some of these supplies. But sometimes they're going to have them, sometimes they're not, and it's sort of a crapshoot here and there. But it never hurts to have a lot of these. And you can do that for fairly cheaply or fairly inexpensively at the dollar store. So it's a why not type situation. I would make sure you take care of your main stuff first, and then you can sort of supplement it with this stuff. But there are a lot of different things that you can get from there. If you, like I said earlier in the video, if you have anything that I didn't mention here that other people might not have thought about, make sure and leave them in the comments below. But with that, everyone, I am done here today. Take care and prepare. We will talk to y'all later.